I record a podcast after I don't even know how fucking long. I'm outside and it's a little windy, so my voice may be a little off. I'm just about to step onto the subway, so there may be some background noises, but bear with me. Anyway, so it's been a while, and the big thing now is, of course, the Euros, and they've already started. So I decided today what I'm gonna do is just give like my own view of what's going to happen, a little bit of predictions here and there, and then at the end of this week's fixtures, I'll do another podcast that summarizes and what I think is going to happen, blah blah blah. So this one's going to be kind of short. I'm going to let's start off with the favorites, France, or my personal favorites. I think France are the ones who are going to take it. Honestly, they've got probably the most balanced lineup. Maybe Spain matches them individual for individual, and in terms of balance, and Belgium, of course. But I think France, firstly, because it's in France, and I think for the most number of times that France has held a competition on home soil, they've won it. So that's an added factor. But apart from that, I think it's just because they've got players in every position that matches any other team. And beyond that, they've got young quality in the form of Pogba, Matuidi, Payet. Insane players. And I just think they're going to take it. Belgium probably match them, but I don't rate them that highly because of the fact that they don't have tournament experience. This is a really young, fresh team. They've got a lot of chemistry. They're very cohesive, and they're a good team. There's good spirit in the team, but they've never been on this stage where they've been written as favourites, and I think the pressure is going to get to them. Apart from that, Germany. I don't think Germany are up there. I don't think they're going to take it. Firstly, because they had a rough qualifying campaign. After the high quality, high standard that they set in the World Cup, I don't think anything's really going to match that. And as evidence, you could say Spain. Like they had 6 years of just pure dominance, and then they lost it in the World Cup. I don't think Germany are going to collapse like the way Spain did, but they just look too top heavy. They don't have too much of a base in midfield. If Kroos gets injured, I think they're done. Kroos is the key for them, and for any team to stop them, they're going to have to keep an eye out on Kroos. That's the big thing for me with Germany. Apart from that, I just think they have too many. They've got Draxler, they've got Ozil, they've got Götze, they've got Sane, they've got Müller. We're all similar types of players. Ozil, Götze, and Draxler especially. They're very similar players. And they have one out-and-out striker in the form of Gomez. So I think they're slightly unbalanced, and that is going to maybe play a role in them not winning it. But again, having said that, they are Germany. They are a tournament team. They always perform. The past 10, 15 years I've been watching the sport. They've always been up there. So you can never write them off, but they're not my personal favorites. Spain, I don't know, man. After the disaster of a World Cup, confidence might be a little low, but I think that could play in their favor because they've got a different side, they've got different players and a different focal point and different tactics compared to the usual tiki-taka. Yes, they still have those players in the form of Iniesta and Silva and stuff, but with Aduriz, Nolito and Morata, they've got three players who are not traditional Spanish players. Aduriz is more of an out-and-out number 9. He's a good header of the ball. He holds the ball up really well. Nolito kind of reminds me of David Villa a lot. Cutting in, he's direct. He runs at players. He's a little dynamic, kind of similar to Pedro as well. But I think his form from this season will warrant him starting over Pedro. And apart from that, Morata, I really like. The guy just is such a hard worker. And Spain, like they're a hard-working team, but they need someone like that up top. So they've got a few things that are slightly different of them, and I would say that they probably easily make it to the quarters at least before anything serious happens as a challenge to them. England, I want to spend some time talking about them. I've spoken about them before, but I don't know. If Rooney is the key there, like where he plays, I personally think he should start on the bench. But he is the captain. He's always performed for England. He's got a lot of history and blah 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 blah. But I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't play him. You've got Dele Alli, you've got Dyer, and Wilshire's seems to be a favourite. But even if you take out Wilshere, you got Henderson, you got Milner, who can all partner Dyer at the base of the midfield. Ali's played as a number 10 all season. That's his most effective role. And then you can probably, if I was Hodgson, I'd like fuck around a bit. You can get in, either play Vardy and Kane up top, or Sturridge and Kane, Sterling out wide along with Lallana, and then one striker in a 4-4-2 diamond kind of formation. They've got different options, but I think if Rooney plays, he's gonna ruin it for them. And I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And their defense is also their weak point. Cahill and Smalling are both very inconsistent players, and to have them partner each other at centre back, it's a little, it's a chink in their armor. If I was an opposing manager, I would do anything to rile up Smalling, because that guy is really volatile. He's always pulling shirts. He goes into these rash challenges. He's not very fast. He's a threat at the other end, and he's a good header of the ball. So then it just makes sense to maybe play these like balls in behind the back line. And England like to play on the counter, but if they're playing a team that themselves are more into counter attacking, then England are going to struggle, I think. Oh yeah, that's my 2 cents on England. Apart from that, I've always been a fan of Croatia. I've liked Belgium a lot. I've been back and forth on Wales, honestly, because I used to love Bale, and then he went to play for Madrid, and now I hate him. But whatever, I think Wales are a decent team also. Who else? I like Turkey, the Czech Republic, like Spain and Italy have the hardest groups in my opinion. You got Belgium, Italy, Sweden, and Ireland. And Ireland have a decent side, man. All 11 players are of Premier League quality, or they play in the Scottish League. So they're top quality players, first division players. Sweden are a decent team too, but in my personal opinion, putting my bias aside, I'm more of a Sweden fan. But I think Ireland are gonna qualify ahead of them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the Ireland-Sweden game. That's the key for that group. I don't foresee too much of a problem for Belgium and Italy to qualify. Speaking of Italy, we might as well spend some time on them, because they can never be written off. Yes, they had that one tournament, I think it was the 2010 World Cup, where they just were terrible. But, they've never been given the title of favourites, yet they've always performed. The problem is, again, the central midfield. Marquisio's out. They don't have a Pirlo. They don't have a Verratti, because he's out also. So they may struggle. I'm going to keep my eye out on Italy to see how they perform, and then assess from over there. I think that's about it. I'm not too sure on the other teams I want to really focus on. Ukraine, I personally really like them. I like that they've got dynamic wingers. They've got this young kid, Zinchenko, who's 21. He plays more of an attacking midfielder. Zuzulia is a good striker. They've got a decent very solid defense. So they'll be interesting to see. I've heard opinions of Ukraine, being overrated and stuff, but I really don't think they are. I think they're rated for what they are. They're a solid side. They had a decent qualifying campaign. They've got a very good league at home, despite all the shit that's going on there. And I actually, they'd probably be a side that I would say makes it to the quarters. But in tournament football, anything can happen. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye out on them too. And finally, just to end on a more playful note, I guess it's just such a great time of the year. All the madness of all the different leagues ended about a month ago, and now we've already had the Copa America underway. I'm not going to focus too much on the Copa America because I really don't think it's that interesting and important of a tournament. But having said that, it's always good to have football in the summer. There's something to do, something to watch. Those 3 months of like nothing really drives people mad. So between the Euros, Copa America, and then the Olympics coming up, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff to focus on, and it'll allow me to build on this base that I have set as well. So stay tuned. I'll be posting a lot more, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Cheers.